Now we go in depth. Serious.
Well, I think we're missing the biggest story of the day.
Oh, no.
Imagine if Hillary Clinton claimed that Bernie Sanders had a role in the killing of Bobby Kennedy. We would be going crazy right now.
Yes.
We'd be going wall to wall. But no, are we about to achieve a historical first in electing the first conspiracy freak president? I mean, is this the pivot we've been talking about? He's not pivoting from presidential. He's pivoting to Alex Jones. He's pivoting to crazy. Why isn't it news? Why is it?
Maybe he's already, come on.
No, it's unusual that somehow it's not news when Trump does it. It's kind of funny.
Wait, will you tell the people what you're talking about?
About the National Enquirer printing a story saying that Ted Cruz's father was present with Lee Harvey Oswald just days before the assassination of JFK.
And now Trump has repeated the story.
All right, that's good. Now, continuing here, folks, that is a clip that Media Matters, openly run by the White House. It's important to know that is the mouth of the White House, saying that, you know, Trump is going full Alex Jones. Yes, one of our investigative journalists a few weeks ago broke it. Wayne Madsen, so many times he breaks something here, then the Enquirer has it 2 weeks, a month later. And he talks to the Enquirer. He's on the articles. And it is true that Cruz lived in New Orleans. Now, Roger Stone has talked to people that have been in and around the JFK case and who knew Lee Harvey Oswald. And they are saying that, yes, indeed, they knew Mr. Cruz's father and that, indeed, he was in and around Oswald. But the biggest connection is the Bushes, George Herbert Walker Bush, ran the CIA in the mid-1970s from nowhere. Just suddenly he's the director and said he'd never been in the CIA. But later it was partially declassified that indeed he was in the CIA and was in Texas and Louisiana, New Orleans, with the family oil company being used as a front for the Bay of Pigs, you name it. And who were they using as their manpower? Lee Harvey Oswald and a bunch of Cuban nationals. And we have this photo from the Warren Commission, and we have Jim Garrison investigating, and we have, right when the investigation starts, the father of Ted Cruz running away and leaving New Orleans. So, investigative journalist Wayne Madsen, the guy who went down with my crew the day after Scalia died, and to the ranch that no other media would go to when they said no autopsy, no nothing, but Prince gets one, and Merle Haggard gets one. And he says, I believe this is connected to Bohemian Grove and Dick Cheney from what I've seen on the bookshelves, the way it's set up, everything, and who's involved. A month later, the Washington Post comes out and says, Scalia died in secret society founded by Bohemian Grove. I mean, wow, the guy's got a nose. Just if you're a TV viewer, let's just look at Wayne Madsen and just admire a true journalist right there. We don't give out fake awards. We don't, we like the mainstream media and correspondence dinners. He could go to those. This guy in the NSA, anti-submarine warfare before that, decades as a journalist. Every time I'm watching some C-SPAN hearing on 9/11 or something, they're in the backgrounds. Wayne Madsen, you know, they're at the National Press Club, you name it. A true patriot. He's only on for one segment with us, popping in. He's on for 45 minutes tomorrow. Coming up, we have another investigative journalist, Mr. Rappaport, on a ton of subjects joining us, and your phone calls will continue, I promise. But to watch them freak out and to watch them come out and make fun of Trump when he's being attacked by Cruz's father, who's saying he's the devil. And so you got to vote for his son, the Christ. And then you have the prophet, the false prophet Glenn Beck over there, fooling all these good Christian people. That's fair. If you're saying I'm the devil and there's press reports connecting you to JFK, and it's in the Enquirer that is one of the most accurate publications out there. This is not news of the world, folks. The Enquirer breaks most of the big scandals. But who broke it back on April 15th? Who broke it 17, 18, 19 days ago? Was Cruz's father linked to the JFK assassination? Cuban, hired by Lee Harvey Oswald, bears striking resemblance to Cruz. Wayne Madsen, April 15th, 2016. That is 19 days ago. So joining us is the investigative journalist. Just to spend a few minutes on this. Tomorrow we'll talk about the campaign. You're going to be in Cleveland with myself. We're going to send you to the DNC as well. We're going to have our full force there covering this, the big landslide that just happened, where all this is going, and so much more tomorrow. But today, your story going nationwide, international, and Fox News making jokes about it. What do you say, Wayne Madsen?
Well, I really, I don't believe that comedians, especially failed comedians like Greg Gutfeld, belong on any news program. I mean, I don't know what journalism has come to when this guy gets more airtime than some journalists who are covering important stories with the mainstream media. So I discount anything Gutfeld says. He's obviously a hack. That program with those other Juan Williams, and I think I saw Carl Cameron there. And Carl Cameron deserves a lot of credit himself. I don't know why I noticed he didn't have much to say in that clip, but Carl Cameron was the guy who uncovered the story about the Israelis being arrested before 9/11, and a 4-part series on Fox News. I wish they would stick to that kind of hard journalism and not people like some stand-up comic that obviously can't get booked at any comedy club, so he's on Fox News.
I was about to say, he's like a jester in a little Salacious Crumb outfit, hopping up and down, like, yeah, conspiracy theory. As you know, that he classified in the 60s and again in the 80s, the CIA developed that term when anybody was on to something to just try to discredit it. Oh, Gutterfield or whatever his name is, Salacious Crumb, he can say conspiracy theory. Boy, he's an intellectual.
Yeah, well, that's true. They did develop it to hit people who were questioning the Warren report. But, I never thought I would actually support something in the Warren report. The photograph of Mr. X, who many people now and believe is Rafael Cruz Sr., was an exhibit in the Warren report. Now there's a bunch of JFK researchers, and I kind of liken some of them to Trekkies, people that will, argue over some character in Star Trek and say, no, Spock didn't die in episode 48. The
Ferengi males can mate.
Yeah, right. And they're just, they're just like some of these JFK researchers, just like Trekkies. People are saying, well, the picture of Cruz. By the way, that picture purported to be Cruz's father was never identified. No one with the Warren report could identify him, nor could Robert Blakey, who was the counsel for the House Select Committee on Assassinations in '78. Which,
and by the way, he lived there. He was an anti-Castro guy, and his son comes out of nowhere to be the top Bush minion.
Yeah, even if you discount the photograph, you got to look at the fact that Rafael Cruz was associated with the oil services company Schlumberger, and the owner of Schlumberger, the heir to Schlumberger, was Jean de Menil, who married Schlumberger's daughter. Jean de Menil was on the board of directors of Permindex, the company, the CIA front that was operated by Clay Shaw, who Jim Garrison, the DA in New Orleans, indicted.
And these are the guys that were servicing the oil rigs that were the fronts for the invasions, drug running, you name it. This guy's got the pedigree on every angle.
Right, and provided the weapons for the Bay of Pigs invasion. So we, even if you discount the photo, you got to look at the interlocking relationship between Rafael Cruz and Clay Shaw, indicted by Jim Garrison. They really went after Garrison, who was a DA. They tried to they said he was crazy, he had been seeing a psychiatrist. They tried to say he was a child molester. The typical things you hear when, somebody stands up against the covert America. And it's always been these covert operations run by the CIA. And I was told by a Republican insider, Ted Cruz said he was going to take this thing all the way to Cleveland in the convention, and he abruptly drops out last night. I've been told that there were two reasons behind that. When Trump said he was going to spill the beans on Heidi Cruz, it really wasn't Heidi Cruz. He sort of misspoke. It was on Ted Cruz's extramarital affairs. And the second reason was that the CIA is very unhappy. They thought they had the JFK thing put to bed 53 years later, and this was resurrecting interest in that.
By the way, I've known you for like 20 years. You never exaggerate or make stuff up. You have great integrity. You're saying a good source inside what general area is telling you this?
Inside the Republican Party, inside the hierarchy of the party.
Well, they suddenly got real scared. He said even if he lost Indiana, he was going to go on for a while. They started changing his tune on that.
That's right, and you know, and so he was obviously tapped on the shoulder because Ted. What I was told is Ted Cruz knows his father worked for the CIA, and there were more skeletons that were going to be paraded out of that party had he not dropped out. So he, you know, he was basically told it's time for you to leave the campaign.
Wow, you're coming on tomorrow to talk about the campaign, the world. What are some of the stories we're going to cover when you're on for 45 minutes or an hour tomorrow, Wayne Madsen?
Well, this one with the Rafael Cruz story, there's so much more information coming out about that, and I think we're gonna, you know, in a way, the way Donald Trump worded his comment on Fox and Friends is that, can you believe that? He said, can you believe that Cruz's father was with Oswald before Oswald was shot? He didn't say anything about Oswald being the assassin. And I just wonder if we have a Trump presidency, we'll see maybe the government will.
Well, I told you, I've talked to high-level insiders even before this happened. They were reaching out to me. I mean, Stone just showed up here going, hey, you know, Trump's into you. You know, Trump's awake. We got to. And I'm like, yeah. And it looks like he may be, like Fox says, the ultimate conspiracy theorist president. We'll talk to you, Wayne. You're awesome. WayneMadsenReport.com. I'm Alex Jones.